Welcome viewers, you are welcome to this tutorial which is SolidWorks. I'm your instructor Vincent Hope. So I'm going to be teaching you on how or the basics of using SolidWorks. So let's go to the intro. Now SolidWorks, unlike AutoCAD, is primarily a 2D based drafting software program used for civil construction plans, floor plans, and piping and instrumentation diagrams. SolidWorks is an engineering tool that is primarily used for 3D modeling. This is important. SolidWorks gives you a 3D view of most things you do in 2D in AutoCAD, and the 3D modeling of complex parts and manufacturing drawings of individual parts and assemblies. It offers more fully developed 3D modeling tools than AutoCAD, and its features are easier to use. So that is about the basic intro. So simply saying that SolidWorks is more for 3D modeling, give you 3D views, and perfect for building machinery parts, 3D models, and the rest of it. Now, so to be able to begin to learn it, the first task we're going to do today is to draw a 3D rectangle. Now, let me scroll up so you can see it. So this is how this is a 3D rectangle. You can see there are two perforations on the side. It has an inner edge and two perforations on the side. Okay, let me close this now. So now let's make progress. Now let's open the 3D software. So I'll minimize this. I go to SolidWorks. This is SolidWorks icon here. We are using SolidWorks 2019, but you can use any version to achieve the same purpose. So if I double click it, I start SolidWorks, which is built by Dassault Systems. AutoCAD is actually built by Autodesk. SolidWorks is built by Dassault Systems, DS. So we're waiting for it to start. Now, if it starts, now let me bring the screen into the recording point so that we can all see what's happening here. Okay, now we can see that it gives us some options. Now the option that we're going to select is a part. We want to design a part. So we click this option, then it opens up. Now let me expand it. Let me see whether I can expand it. Okay, I expand it to this so that we can have a full, better view. Now, if you see a quick view tour of the environment, if you watch here carefully, we have the menu, file, edit, view, all of this. You have different menus. Now, we also have here the command manager where you see different commands. You see features. If I click features here, I click sketch, I click sheet metal, I click evaluate, I click MVD dimensions, and the rest of it. Now, everyone you select and you begin to use the tool. For example, I click a base tool here, you see that the function here changes. If I click features here, or I click sketch, or let me close this, I close this, I click, for example, I click a cycle. If I click a cycle and I try to draw, okay, it's not draw, let me just click a cycle now. Once I click, let me come to sketch, sheet metal, or sketch. Any option I click, the option is supposed to change. Okay, let me close it so I can understand what I'm saying. Let me select the top pane, for example. I go to sketch. Now you can see that the option here changes. If I click on this, the option also changes. If I click this, okay, so every option has a sub option here that you can select, which we're going to be working with. So that is just a brief. Here we're going to learn all the other sub menus, what they stand for and what they do. So let's kick off. So remember, we want to draw a 3D triangle. So we have selected the first option. Let's go back to where we started so that we don't confuse us. So let me close SolidWorks now. So it does say don't save. So I double click it. I start again so we can refresh and see where we started from. So the software is beginning to load. So let's give it some time. It's actually a heavy package. So now we're here, so we click parts. So when we have clicked parts, we click parts. Now, so the first thing is that to select the kind of plane we want to use. So now if you watch under these options here, you see that we have the front plane. Once I put it here, you see how it shows, but I have the top plane, I have the right plane, and I have the origin. So for this lecture, we're going to start with the top plane. I click the top plane. Okay, you see how it looks like now. And if I come here, I can come here by the side of the top plane. I put the pointer there. If I right click it, I see where it says what? Sketch. Because we're going to sketch the diagram now. So I click sketch. Now see what happens. The top plane now becomes like a triangle, just a plane to start your design. So the first thing we're going to do, because we're building a 3D rectangle, we go to the rectangle menu. We click on the rectangle menu. See the rectangle menu is under sketch. You have features here. You have sketch. You have sheet metal. So if I click sketch and I right click, see this under sketch, we have the sector rectangle. I click the option here. We have different types of other options of rectangle, but we're going to take the first one, which is the corner rectangle. I click on the corner rectangle. I come to this point. I start from the corner. I draw a rectangle. I've drawn a rectangle now. So the next thing I will want to do with this rectangle is to give it dimensions. I've finished drawing the rectangle. So what do? I go to this sketch tool. Under the sketch, you see the option here, smart dimension. If I click smart dimension here, I bring the mouse pointer to this edge. Once I look at it, see it changes to like yellow or orange. I click on it, I move it out, and I click outside. Now when I click outside, it gives me the option to change the dimension of the rectangle. So here I will type 30. You can see type 30. I can click OK. The dimension adjusts to 30. And I come to this top here. I click it. I move a bit. I click on it. It allows me to change. I type this one 60 and I press enter. So I can use click OK or press enter. So you see the dimension for the width is 30 millimeters. And the dimension for the length is 60 millimeters. So we are making some good progress. So I click OK because I'm done. Look at this close dialog box here because I'm done with the dimensions. Now the next thing I will want to do is to click on features. The features menu. I click on features. If I click on features, okay, when I click on features, you see this option here, extruded boss or stroke base. If I click on it, now you see it turns the shape, that rectangle, which is this base here, has been extruded. That's increased by a certain amount, which we're going to define. Now, to define it more, we're going to come to this point. You can see that it has been extruded by 10 millimeters. I want to change it to 20 millimeters. I go back, I remove everything there, and I type 20 millimeters, and I press enter. You see now it has increased. It has increased by 20 millimeters. Another way I can adjust it is I will come to this center arrow here and make sure I put the mouse pointer there. You see when it changes to orange color, I click it and I move. I can move it. I can still increase it. So the first one I change to 20. Now I want to adjust it to 30. You can see 30 here, and I click. So I have a very beautiful diagram here. So you can see this. I've extruded it. So I click OK. I close the dialog box. So I'm done. So I close the dialog box. I have something beautiful. Now if I right click on it, I come to zoom and rotate. I can come to pan. I click pan. I move it downwards. I click the object and I move it downwards to have a more center view. Now I move pan. Now the next thing, I'm going to curve the edges. These 4 edges, I want to curve it. So what do? I click on this icon here. It's called fillet. I click fillet. If I click fillet, you discover the dimensions here change. Now on the fillet portion here, you see that it is 10 millimeters. That will be too big. So let me make it 2 mm and I press enter. Then I want a full view. So I bring my mouse pointer here. I come to this edge here. You see it. I click here. You see the fillet here. I come to this other edge. I click here. Good. See the third one here. I come to this other edge here. I click. Then I come to the final edge and I click. So you can see the 4 portions have been curved. So, and I click OK. Here at this point, I click OK. Now you can see your shape is looking better, looking more better. So I can now, if I want to rotate the view and see it better, I can right click again. I come to, let me right click down here. I come to zoom, pan. I can click this option, rotate view. If I click it here, you can see it changes to like a curve. I can click and rotate it a bit so that I can have a better view of it. So that's that. Now the next thing I want to do, I want to cut inside this rectangle because it's a solid shape now. That's why it's called SolidWorks. Now to cut into this shape, the first thing I want to make it look, I want to cut it here, so I can come directly and click this called shell. If I click shell, then I come to here, this place. The shell here is kind of 10 mm. If I click this object here, you see the display 10 mm. If I click it, I remove this one and I put it at 2 mm. I press enter, and I click OK. Now you see it's the distance between the blockhead that was here before was a full blockhead, but now it has cut me a space inside that is just 2 mm. You get it? If I want to do it again, let me Ctrl Z and reverse it. Then I come back to shell just to repeat the process so that you can understand. I click shell. This is 2 mm here. I make it 5 mm. I press enter. I click on this and I click OK. You see it's a bigger 5 mm. But what we are looking for, is the 2 mm so that we have a better shape. So I press Ctrl Z, go back. I click on it, or I press escape. I click on shell. If I click on shell, I type in 2 mm, just type 2 there, press enter, click on this, then I click OK. So I click OK. I click OK, sorry. Okay, let me undo it. So I go back to shell. Okay, 2 mm, click on the surface, click OK. Okay, beautiful. So this is what we have here. So now I right click here and I click zoom. Let me rotate it more and I click. You see I have a beautiful shape here. This is my rectangle. Okay, so now I want to create something, a cycle on the both edges, so I can create the perforation. So what do we do now? I go back to there's this option here. Look at it, view orientation. If I click it, I can view the left view, the front view, the right view, the back view. So let me take the front view. I click the front view. So this is my shape here. Now I go to sketch. I take the circle. I click circle. I click on the place I want to click. Okay, sorry, as I say, I select the type of, if I select the cycle, I select the type of cycle I want. Okay, let me go back, sketch here, select the cycle, sorry, sketch cycle, sorry, so select the cycle, it's already selected. You can select any of them, these two. So I select this one and I come here and I click and I drag to a particular radius and I leave it there. So I have a circle at this point. Now, and I click OK to close the dialog box. So I have a circle here, so I can adjust the dimension. If I come to Smart Dimension, click Smart Dimension, click on the radius here, click on the edge here, click it, and drag outside. Click, it's 7 centimeters, so let me reduce it to 5. Reduce it to 5. I press Enter to adjust the cycle, and I also may want to define it from the position of this point down to get an exact radius. I click Smart Dimension again. I click from the center here. I click this, and I also click this angle. Okay, let me see. I click this. I click this angle, and I also click this. Okay, let me see. Okay, sorry. I click this, and I also click this angle here. We're seeing Smart Dimension. Okay, let me go back. Smart Dimension. Click this, then click this, then you draw. Fine. You come here. So it is 24.4. Supposing I just want to make it exact 25 mm, and I press Enter. So it is well adjusted. Now I can also come here and click close the dialog box. I close the dialog box, so I have my shape here. So now I can now still right click, come to zoom, pan, rotate, then click rotate so that I can see how it looks like. And I come there, I bring it, so it looks a bit big here. So let me still right click, zoom to fit to reduce the size. Zoom to fit, you can see it now. Then you can see now you have your shape, your circle cut here. So let me rotate it properly. Now I right click and I click select. If I click select, I click on this circle. You can see at the edge here, turns to orange. I click on this circle. Once I click on this circle here, then and I click on that circle here. Let me go to features. Okay, when I click to features, you see this option here, extruded cuts. This option. So when I click extruded cuts, you can see it moves the cut in to a particular diameter, and the diameter here is 30. It's 30. Now let us expand it. So we click on this option under direction. I click it here. You can now select through all, means it will go through the entire shape. I click through all. If I click through all, now it has gone from here to here. You get it? If I right click it and I click zoom rotate, let me show that you can see what's happening. Rotate it, and you can see the option. See how it went. Okay. Now when you are done, you click OK. When you click OK, you notice now there are 2 holes on the 2 sides. Let me right click it and zoom and rotate it. You can see now. You see now how it looks beautiful. So now let's see how it will look on a 3D view. Now we come to under this option here. You see model, you see 3D views. So let's come to 3D views. When we come to 3D views, you see here where it says publish the active file in SolidWorks drawing. On SolidWorks drawing, I click it, and it brings out this option, save configuration to an e-drawing file. I click OK, and I click OK. Yes, it generates a screen, a 3D screen. Now let's watch it. You see it here now. Then as it generates it now, I come to this option and I click play, and I click play again. You see what it does. Beautiful. How your 3D diagram looks like. It begins to show you in the different directions based on what you have done. So this, when you are done, you can click OK. Still showing you the 3D dimensions. Beautiful. Then you can click pause. Then you are done with that. Then you can close this, close the 3D view. You can see you have your shape here. So then we can now, what do we do? As usual, you save your drawing, you click save icon here, you click save. You locate the folder. We already have drawing 1. I'm saving it under drawings on my desktop. So I can call it practice 1, or let me call it lesson 1. And you click what? Save. So there you have it. This is how to draw a 3D rectangle in SolidWorks.